I'm going to say this here. I don't think no celebrity deserves this position. Welcome to Brand Culture Collective. You're joined by myself, Delaney.
Rondell.
And Simon.
Do you know what I want to talk about this week? Yeah. Obviously, it's been in the news. And ASAP Rocky beat his... What was it like? His gun case against his friend
ASAP Telly.
ASAP Telly.
Yeah.
But what's funny is that off the back of that, yeah, like, I feel like, obviously, ASAP Rocky and Rihanna are the new power business couple, innit?
So, would you say so?
Yeah, like, wouldn't you say so?
No, I don't know. But go on.
If you think about it, you got Beyonce and Jay-Z.
Mm-hmm.
My mind's gone blank. But obviously, you got Beyonce and Jay. These are like, they're younger.
Okay.
Yeah, Kanye can't really keep a woman, but... Hey, don't post that back off of me. But... yeah, so like ASAP, obviously, she's a billionaire, esteemed businesswoman.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, he's a fashion mogul and whatever he wants to like describe himself as. Difficult to describe him. Like, they're both musicians as well.
Yeah.
But off the back of that, he beat the case on one day. Next day, he's a creative director of Ray-Bans.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen that?
Yeah, mad.
Yeah.
Mad.
What do you lot think about that?
I think it makes sense, man. I think ASAP has kind of been pushing into fashion even before this case. Like, even with his music, he's not been as consistent as other members in ASAP, and he's kind of been going in that fashion lane, if I'm being serious. So it makes sense. I guess Ray-Ban was just waiting for him to beat the case and then just put him on top.
Yeah, I think it was actually planned before the case. I think the position also is that I saw him. He made appearances during his court case. He was actually wearing Ray-Ban.
Yeah, so it's like...
Do you know what I mean?
The whole thing was a rollout,
that little meme going around.
I think he embodies where this brand wants to go. I think he basically is fashion, he is music, and he's new media, right?
And culture.
And culture combined. And I think that's where the new version of Ray-Ban wants to go. So I think he's a perfect person to position them or pivot them into that space they want to go to. I think even his associations with Rihanna, I think she wears Ray-Bans. It's a lifestyle brand. I think that's a good space to be in. That obviously your wife can also be modeling, and she is such a huge asset. They've got a huge following. Actually, their following is reason as to why
the following's quite good still.
You know,
yeah,
combined
together.
Yeah, because you know what? Yeah, like, you see us, we're in this industry, we're in the design industry, and obviously we've got the typical career path: junior designer, midway, senior director, creative director, right? And we know how much work it takes to get to that level, but it's like celebrities come in and just go straight to the top.
I'll say this. I think
it's the influence.
I think they're using them as a they're using the celebrities as a physical representation of the brand.
But it's an influence, like we spoke about the crepe stuff. It's the influence. So they know like the influence they can get from the brand.
They're using them. They're using them. So it's like, we put you in this position for now, just so we can leverage your influence,
your celebrity,
a brand ambassador,
your image.
It's a brand ambassador.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. That's why I kind of don't like it, because that's not what a creative director is. It's like they're a director. They inspire, business, set the direction, and lead the team. Do you know what I mean?
It's
like
business.
But you can't. You can't. I feel like it ruins it for us actual creatives.
You know what it is? It's almost like it's a business. It's a business strategy where it's like, let's give him creative director. Let's give him a creative director title, but we all know he's not really a creative director. But because his influence is so powerful, because you need to understand, a creative director's job is to influence people, right?
I was actually gonna say
so if you've got a person that doesn't even need the experience and he can influence people because of who they are, that is a creative director. It's a business. It's a strategic.
Yes
You
and
see what I'm
no.
trying to say? Yes, no, yes. You know, no, he's not a creative director. He's not. He's an influencer.
Yeah.
But because he's got the pull to do what a creative director's job is to do, I think short term he's successful. Long term he's not. That's just what it is.
Let me just touch on that and add to what you just said, Simon. Yeah. So the creative director, what did they do? Let's define it. Like, I don't want to go too in depth about it.
Yeah.
But let's essentially to define a creative director role, right? They kind of like set out to like influence. You know, they help the brand. Um, they help to see the vision of the brand and where it wants to be, right?
Yes.
So now, isn't ASAP Rocky that a physical representation of that brand or set creative director? I think these companies use that. So cool. ASAP Rocky is where the brand is and where it wants to be.
100%.
Yeah. Do you know what? Yeah, I feel like ASAP Rocky is not a terrible person to be a creative director. So maybe he's not the best example for us to like go against it. Like for me, obviously, that's my opinion to go against it because he does have fashion knowledge and he seems like a student of the game, right? Of the fashion game or the design game. Like he's very aesthetic in the way that he approaches stuff.
Yeah.
But there's other celebrities that we know they don't know nothing about. What did Kanye say? What does Lady Gaga know about cameras?
And Kanye's a wild card.
But let's touch on that.
But it's true though, in terms of what you're saying. It's the influence.
Yeah, but I disagree with Kanye. I think Lady Gaga, like I'm saying here,
she's an actor
is
as
a
well.
physical representation of Polaroid and where it wants to be.
100%.
So let me just touch on that, right? Lady Gaga she's new media, right?
Yeah.
She's classical, right?
She's an actor.
She's an actor. She's a musician. You know, she's involved in fashion. So she's a physical representation of where the brand wants to be. Polaroid wants to get into this space. When you think of Lady Gaga, she's iconic.
But that's the thing. That's what I'm saying. Like,
iconic,
yeah,
the way you're describing it
she's classic.
Is what a brand ambassador does. You pick someone that embodies the brand, but a creative director is an internal position that is supposed to get the business in line.
It's a strategic move.
So do we think that she's the creative director externally, and there's actually someone else that's doing the actual proper work?
Of course, it's a strategic move.
As the assistant, they're giving them the range, like you were saying, Simon. They're giving them the credibility and the position, but they're using their influence. They're using like their vision, and because their vision aligns with.
It's almost, you know, have you ever seen Jobs do this? And they say it's just a title. Have you ever seen like they would ask for maybe a midweight designer, and they will pay you like a junior designer salary, maybe, and then when you come in as a midweight, you're doing senior things.
Yeah, that's extortion, though, isn't it?
It's a title thing. So it's almost like the reverse of that, if that makes sense.
But you know what the funny thing is, is that even with the Lady Gaga example, right? Because I looked this up, she actually had a separate kind of like product line with Polaroid called Polaroid Grey, and it flopped.
Oh.
Yeah, so it didn't even do well. So it's like, we're saying it like it's a great promotional tool and whatever it is, but they're actually trying to use these people that they even know what they're doing.
Did it flop? Was it just didn't have enough?
It's terrible product. It didn't make sense. We didn't need it.
Product was terrible.
Yeah.
So if the product's terrible, it's always going to flop.
Exactly.
100%.
But has she brought new customers into Polaroid? What were the numbers like? I really like. Is she doing,
she must have brought them.
What is she doing currently?
So see, no, go on, I'll let you speak.
No, I was going to say Polaroid was struggling before Lady Gaga, and they were struggling while they still was working with Lady Gaga. I'd say that it's only after they dropped Lady Gaga and actually brought in, I can't remember the person's name, that they actually started to create products that appealed to a market that would spend money on their products. They just try to leverage their celebrities.
But this is the thing, so I think what you're saying is you can use people to influence, but if the product is ultimately not good, it's still going to be rubbish.
Yeah. And I'm kind of selfishly looking at this is that if you're bringing in all these celebrities as creative directors, well, how are we going to be creative directors if these people are just taking up space? Do you know what I mean? They don't need
it's
these
business,
positions.
though, isn't it? It's business.
but it screams desperate. It
It
doesn't
is.
work.
It is because it's cheap. It's a cheap way to make a lot of money short term. It
and
is
to get lots of followers and to pivot the brand to where they want to be. So like for instance, like Molly May,
Mhm.
Pretty Little Thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
She embodies or embodied that. Is she still working at Pretty Little Thing?
No,
No,
she
she's not.
only
So she
lasted like
stepped
2
up.
years.
But I think she done what the brand needed to do. So in terms of like where the brand is, obviously the target audience, I think it's 18 to 24, like
Yeah,
women, that
young women,
demographic.
like.
She's a influencer, you know, stuff like that. So I think she is what the brand wanted to, like. Obviously, she's involved in fashion before, prior to Love Island, prior to
Yeah.
the celebrity. She grafted and she done like I think halls of like fashion halls,
Yeah.
etc. So she embodied Pretty Little Thing from a human side aesthetically, and
Mhm.
also and where the brand wants to be. So I think they used that vision, and then okay, cool. So her audience are following based on a celebrity would all go to Pretty Little Thing.
I think you're right with her. I can't say that all celebrity creative directors are terrible.
Yeah,
No, because I think
Like
ASAP
Pharrell.
Rocky's gonna be a great person within the space
Yeah.
of Ray Bans.
You say Pharrell. I say Pharrell's doing his thing.
Yeah, he is. He's doing big things. He's. I think okay, cool. You see, with someone like Pharrell, yeah, we've always looked at him as a fashion forward person that understands design in his core, within his elements, even within his music. You can tell the music is well designed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that is who he embodies. So for him to be in charge of a big fashion label, fashion house like Louis Vuitton, it makes sense. And then what I could say he's doing is continuing on the work that his predecessor Virgil did, is
Yeah, Virgil as well.
bridging that gap between high fashion and hip hop culture.
Yeah.
Because obviously within his, if you've ever seen his catwalks or his walk shows or whatever they're called,
In
yeah,
France and Paris.
yeah, like it's very hip hop heavy. He's got the clips walking down.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
In
got the
in
clips
you know what I mean, the
walking.
clips, like
And
that's
get
old,
some
old
London
school.
people.
Yeah, he's
some
also
London-
held more senior roles in terms of his past business adventures. I think he owned Billionaire Boys Club, right?
Yeah,
And he's still, I don't know, I'm not too sure if he sold or if he's still involved in it, but he had a more even senior role. He was the, I think, one of the part owners of the actual brand, like a Virgil did with Off White.
yeah,
They kind of like they've done it before. They've been tried and tested. Their CV does match. They all surpasses what that position actually is now. So
yeah,
they're qualified or probably overqualified to
yeah.
do that.
And I can say people like that can inspire the internal staff with giving them a creative direction in how everything should operate. But like, if we're gonna say, like, okay, cool, you got people like Cardi B is the creative director of Playboy. What qualifies Cardi B to be creative director of Playboy?
I think her personality,
What about her
appeal.
personally?
Sex appeal.
Yeah. And she's so outspoken about
Again,
sex.
I think it's the same thing. They're trying to
She's
align
unapologetic.
someone
She's
with the brand. Yeah, she's apologetic. She's
about
sex
sex.
appeal. She's like, I think also I think she was
Her
there
music
to
is
design like
sexy.
an Apple, like to rival OnlyFans. I think.
Yeah, they tried to go down in that space where I think it's called like centerfold or something like that.
That's a
With it.
strategic business. What does she know about doing an app?
It's bad business.
No, instead of I would say it's
I wouldn't say it's
I would
bad
say it's
business.
good business.
I wouldn't
think
say it's bad
they
business.
use her
It
like
is good
instead of a
business.
Cardi B going on an OF page and go with the competitor. She said, "Hey, look, make me the creative director.
Mm-hmm.
I will get, again, business wise, I will get the following. I will get people to now go onto this new platform. Kind of like when Instagram started, like lots of like celebrities jumped on Instagram,
Yeah.
get that influence based, and when it's locked in, then everyone comes in after. So he's like, you use Cardi B for the sex appeal, of unapologetic, authenticity.
Relevance.
She embodies what Playboy wants to be and where they're probably going the direction.
the
And obviously,
direction.
new media,
Mm-hmm.
she is new media. She's always
So
there.
Playboy
She's
created their own-
popularity, influence, all these things.
So Playboy create their own, like their kind of OnlyFans app.
OnlyFans thing.
That's
That's
funny,
the direction
though.
they want to go. Yeah, it was centerfold.
But I don't know if it worked or not, but I've never
That's
heard of it.
strange.
Do you know what I
though.
mean?
Yeah, I've never heard of it till now.
No.
So obviously, but I'm not a fan of Cardi B. I even had to look her up to know that she did this. But like, you know, the thing I feel about this is like, you know, within the film space when they're film producers and stuff, you got like executive producer titles, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we were to think as outsiders of executive producer, we think that person's on set doing this, setting it. But sometimes it might have been someone that's just invested in it. It might be one of the actors that they put in, giving them that title to promote it. So it feels like our industry that we work in is turning into not even just like it's turning into entertainment, bro.
Yeah, it's been like that. It's been like that for,
You know,
for some time. Unfortunately, money talks.
So what would we say? Yeah. So would we say? So is the conventional creative director better than a celebrity creative director?
Of course not.
yes, all the time.
So yeah, of course, yes, they are all the time. What are we talking about here?
Why
Because they've built the skills. They know what they're doing. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
They've built the skills.
because I can say this, yeah.
Long term, they're better. Short term,
Well, for quick promotion, of course, a celebrity is going to bring more eyes. Of if you announce that a no name,
but
well,
them
not no
working
name, but
together would be a power move.
yeah. But listen to this, like, okay, cool. Have you not ever worked for a business or worked like one of your jobs, so you don't have to say it, when the person at the top, but whatever their title is, yeah, is giving you directions or telling you to create stuff, and you know makes no sense.
100% all the time.
That I feel like that's what it's going to be like with having certain people as creative directors.
Yeah, all.
You know what I mean?
But they can't give them that much control.
Then
Surely not.
why give them the title then?
Surely not. No, they must. The thing is, no. The thing is, well, I feel like they could give them the title, unless it's someone like Kanye. You can give them the title, and they might not even know half of the things they should be doing. So you can probably get away with some stuff, if that makes sense. Like you can still have someone doing certain things, and they just because to be honest with you, they don't want to work. They just want to get paid. And
That's the other thing is, where they finding all the time to be a creative director?
No,
And
they've got assistants. I think the Molly May. If I watched the Molly May,
is it good?
Yeah.
thing doc, yeah, and she had assistants. Obviously, people telling her like what to do. Obviously, she has a creative director, but there's other parts of the business that she has to meet, and obviously she has other business ventures as well.
Yeah.
So I think they tell them what specific things they need to accomplish because they've got set goals that aligns with the business.
Yeah.
So I think as long as they're meeting these goals and ticking all these boxes of like as I keep saying is where they now and where do they want to be. Do you know what I mean? So what defines success is obviously is it cool someone that's highly skilled and knows what they do and a traditional and a creative director space, or is it someone taking all the company's goals and aligning with all their future vision and from a financial perspective, from a brand design perspective, and also from an influence and following perspective. So so essentially, which that's why I was asking the question because is it do we need how do you define who's like do you know what I mean? Is it skill based or is it influence?
Yeah.
And if someone's now lacking because maybe a celebrity brings all the influence. Let's say in a hypothetical,
Yeah.
a celebrity ticks all the boxes, yeah, and like an ASAP Rocky,
Yeah.
because we said he's a good match, right? So he takes all the boxes. Money's coming, revenue's coming in. Sorry, he's bringing the following. That's tenfold. Now the conventional creative director is lacking a little what he's lacking in he's lacking in follow like getting that retention. Yes, he's financially he might be doing okay, the brand's doing okay, but he's not bringing in that all those goals and alignment and where the company wants to be. So it's a catch 22 to see what it's quite interesting to know from what.
It's funny you say that, like, because we have conventional creative directors, and we have these brands that we always reference. So, like, we always talk about Apple having the best design or Airbnb having great design, like those kind of things. But those brands are led by normal creative directors that have studied their craft and got to where they've got to. So, say for example, there's someone I'm going to reference called Naz. I don't want to butcher your name, but Naz Arandi, right? She has been the creative director of Netflix, Airbnb, and Apple.
Altogether.
Her name holds weight.
That's someone that's qualified for these jobs. Not just because you've got followers and we like your music and you dress well. You might even have a stylist, bro. So it's like, I feel like we're cheapening this creative director title just for celebrity.
But you could almost say it's similar in the movies section. Some celebrities become actors overnight because of their relevance.
And they're terrible.
And they're terrible.
But there's some Lady Gaga.
Yeah,
Lady Gaga.
but they're not as good. Okay, they have to learn. I know what you mean.
Accolades.
But she's got a performing arts background, so it's slightly different.
Yeah, I mean that's like everything is good and it's bad, right?
Because okay, cool. Even say ASAP Rocky was in a film, right? I can't remember.
Saw it, yeah,
it's terrible. He was bad, isn't it? Like,
even
so.
Let me allow Dave East. I was going to say Dave East.
So like,
but there's some rappers that are good actors.
Yeah, but I feel like we should just qualify the people a bit more. Because you've got like you've got serial celebrity creative directors. Like Swiss Beats, is a serial celebrity creative director, and I'll be honest, nothing looks good and nothing translates.
Which brand?
Reebok, Lotus. There's a couple others I can't remember. Even his wife Alicia Keys was creative director for BlackBerry.
Oh, was she?
Years ago, yeah, like in 2013, 14.
Okay.
So they're just leveraging their celebrity. How they're not translating these brands? Like they're not motivating or doing anything internal for the business. BlackBerry don't even land like that. We can blame Alicia Keys.
Not anymore. Not ever since that.
Yeah, let's blame Alicia
Keys. Yeah.
No, I blame whoever put her there.
Do you know what I mean? So the board and all those people got a lot to say for themselves, isn't it?
No, for real. Crazy, man. I'll say, you know what, man? Yeah, I think I think, which this might not make sense, but I think if you're a startup, a small business, I think having a celebrity might make sense because you need that quick growth. You need it. But then if you're a company that's been doing this for a while, obviously having someone who's learned these like the trade of the skill and certain things makes more sense long term. You can still have both working as a team, but I think you just have to be. It's all about strategy.
I'll say the opposite, you know.
Oh, seriously?
I think if you're a bigger business, you can take the risk and have someone that doesn't really know what they're doing because the business can still hold
that's true.
afloat.
I see what you're saying.
But if you're a smaller business, you need someone that can help you build that core stability. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. I think these brands can afford to have these celebrities to like get them where they want to be, like i.e. the ASAP Rockies, but eventually they probably just use them for now.
Yeah.
And then obviously when they get to where the company's goals, they would then pivot elsewhere. Like, I don't know, perhaps the Ray-Bans is probably not performing as they should and they could be going down. Obviously, I don't think that's happening to Ray-Ban, but you know, and then you just need like a new, fresh approach or direction, and they just use ASAP Rocky for the time being to then now pivot to where they want to be.
Yeah. No, I've got faith that he will create something of the business and push in the right direction. I think the rollout as well, the rollout has been the cleanest. How do you go from beating a case where you're facing like 20-something years to then like announcing that you're creative director of like the biggest sunglasses brand in the world? Do you know what I mean? So it'll be interested to see. I'm interested to see what he does, how he does, and we'll probably pick up this conversation again if he does something that we don't like or we do like. But that's us. Like, subscribe, follow, share, comment. We're on all platforms. Brand Culture Collective. Cool, and we'll be back next week.